In Sports Tonight, Wednesday, August 23, Rugby Union's most elusive player, Jonah Lomu, hit Sydney for the David Campese tribute match. We'll speak to the giant All Black. Commander of the Bomber Squadron, Kevin Sheedy, gets set for a raid on Brisbane and his 350th game. The Great White Shark encounters another playoff. This one has a happy ending. And Jearn is back in Melbourne, but will he run in the Cup? Hello everyone and welcome. I'm Tim Webster. Also tonight, another boxing comeback. This time it's Aussie Joe Bugner at the age of 45. Australian swimming signs a lucrative television deal, and racing's future, a bookie's an endangered species. But first up, rugby league, and the bad news for the North Sydney Bears just keeps on coming. Tonight at league headquarters, Bears hooker Chris Caruana was suspended for 3 weeks for a head-high tackle in Sunday's game against South Sydney. Caruana was sent off for this high shot on South forward Michael Francis, as Norths were held to a 16-all draw by the Rabbitohs. The Bears need to win against the Gold Coast on Sunday to make the top 8, and it won't be easy with star players David Fairley, Greg Florimo and Gary Larson all in doubt with injury. A good crowd of over 20,000 turned out at the Sydney Football Stadium tonight to watch a host of world rugby stars play in David Campese's tribute match. The final scoreline was no surprise, 29 tries scored in all, with Campo's men running out winners to the tune of 111 points to 76.
Aggies and some of the best in the world on his side. This is rugby union the Campo way. But much of the attention was on Jonah Lomu, the man with Campo's number 11 jersey.
Lomu, get away, no, Barossa stole it!
The Barbarians shot out to a 21-7 lead, and that changed when Lomu held on to the ball.
Godfrey, see you later.
The World 15 took the lead, Campo hit the gas, Ella ran out of puff, and Lomu rolled on.
This is Lomu. Howard couldn't get him. No one can get him.
This was a young man's game. 12 tries scored in the first half. What would a Campo tribute game be without the goose step?
The goose step! Get out of my way!
45-33 in favour of Campo's team at the half. The Aussie legend collected his own to start the second.
No contest.
By the time Big Neil Francis broke every rule in the book of forward play, the World 15 passed 60.
It is in fact Neil Francis, the Irish international.
Campese's second took it past 70.
The best dummy you'll see all night.
The Flying Mendez made it 80. And Lomu, on one boot, ran up the century.
And Jonah.
In the end, a 111-76 victory, 29 tries, 19 to the world team. Just as the captain would have wanted it.
Yes, the boys had some fun, more like an AFL scoreline, and at a time when football coaches of all codes are increasingly under more and more pressure to produce winning teams or face the axe, Essendon's Kevin Sheedy is definitely the exception rather than the rule. This weekend, the head bomber will be in charge for his 350th game as an AFL coach.
Clench that fish, clench the fish when you hit the handball.
A career that spans over 30 years in football, Kevin Sheedy is regarded as one of the master educators of the game. His early days at Richmond saw him develop into one of the most fearless players, but he did doubt his own ability.
As a footballer, I'd probably a reasonably good middle order down the list batsman around about, you know, those ones about 15.
And so too former teammate Kevin Bartlett.
I would have thought maybe a number 10 would have been closer to the mark.
He also made a big impression on his opponents.
Said on Kevin, I had the misfortune of him breaking my leg. Kevin, you're watching it, it was a filthy thing to do.
But Sheedy was a man of great determination in pursuit of a fulfilling career.
And of course, the story goes at Prantec, he wasn't doing so well, and one of the teachers said to him, what do you want to be? And he said, a full-time footballer. And he said, well, you've got no chance, you're a fool.
But it was Sheedy who had the last laugh. He went on to play in 3 premierships with the Tigers and notched up over 250 games. As a child, he barracked for the beloved Bombers, and in 1981, he was appointed coach. In his 15 years at Essendon, his record is unsurpassed, with 5 night and 3 day premierships. A remarkable career, but a man with a remarkable mind.
It's a patience, you know. I mean, you do have your ups and downs. There are some times you are flat, and you just have to look at every angle that you could possibly conceivably look at to get the best out of players.
So how does he motivate the senior players who've been hearing the Sheedy voice for the past 15 seasons?
I don't often speak to the players all that much as I used to. More so now I've probably become sort of like probably a captain or a major in the army, where you come out and you're really making sure all the drills are getting done correctly.
Quick, quick! Never call out.
Sheedy is an innovator, and in return, football's been kind to him. This weekend he coaches his 350th. Little significance to someone who just loves the game.
That's one of the great things about being involved in this game called footy, because it can give you a real big step into your life after you finish playing.
And after the break on Sports Tonight, racing, swimming and the snow, and the shark finally gets lucky in sudden death. Norman and friend take the cash. Greg Norman has finally had some luck in a playoff with a little help from his friend. The Shark teamed with Brad Faxon to win the rich Fred Meyer Challenge, a best ball tournament in Oregon. Among the 12 teams competing, one of the greats, Arnold Palmer, getting the grin from playing partner Peter Jacobson. But it came down to two teams. Paul Azinger and Payne Stewart had the lead until the final hole. And that's when the Sharks stepped in with this perfect approach to 18. Birdie putt to force the playoff. On the first extra hole, Faxon dropped the putt and won $135,000. But of course he has to split it with the Shark. Oh well, keep the Learjet and fuel for a couple of trips. Beware the big hitters. The Australian skins game is about to become the Daly and Davies show. Officials have confirmed Laura Davies, the world's longest female hitter, will join Long John Daly at Sanctuary Cove next year.
When IMG boss Tony Cochrane announced Laura Davies' name this morning, he claimed it represented a first for the skins game worldwide, a woman joining the men for the big money.
We're delighted to say that she was over the moon about the opportunity to play, and the other three are really looking forward to the challenge.
Davies, regarded as the biggest hitter on the women's tour, will join the biggest hitter on the men's tour in John Daly. 5 times British Open champion Tom Watson and defending skins champion Peter Senior, who is sure to claim a home ground advantage at Sanctuary Cove.
I guess Peter starts probably a little bit the favourite, and he's also, Pete said to me the other night that he's got a bit of a psychological advantage on them now, having the money already in the bank. So
in a bonanza for Gold Coast fans, who have been denied top-class golf since the demise of the Sanctuary Cove Classic and the Palmettos Cup, the thought of Daly and Watson, with 6 British Opens between them, will be a welcome sight.
It's the first time ever that Tom Watson and John Daly have appeared on the Gold Coast, so we're going to limit the numbers to 5,000. We believe that, of course, can reasonably handle that sort of crowd, and once those tickets are sold, we're going to put up the sold-out sign and shut the gate, as it were.
Sanctuary Cove, with its natural amphitheatre layout, will be a bonus for the fans over the 2 days of the skins game.
It's a tremendous opportunity, and I'm sure the galleries will really appreciate the atmosphere out there. There'll be a lot of fun and a lot of excitement, a lot of great golf.
A warning tonight that illegal SP betting will flourish if bookies are removed from racetracks. A review into the industry has come up with the controversial proposal, and not surprisingly, the bookmakers don't like the odds much.
It's hard to imagine a track without bookies. They're part of racing's colour and culture. But banning bookies is one issue for consideration in Ian Temby's racing review.
I really would doubt that that is a serious consideration, because the alternative is horrendous. Bookmakers are highly regulated and all our operations are overt, whereas if the alternative is for bookmaking to be illegal, off the track and covert.
Yet the review received several submissions, including one from a chief steward, suggesting racing without bookies would be racing with less corruption.
Well, the experience in Asian tracks and in Hong Kong and Singapore, where it's all tote betting, black market bookmaking is prolific, and it's well documented that corruption is rife in both those two centres.
Another issue that's been the talk of the track today is, should jockeys be allowed to bet? It arose from a submission to the review which suggested the restriction on jockeys be lifted because generally they flaunt it, and doing away with it completely would do little harm. Do a lot of jockeys bet?
I don't know, do they? You tell me. I don't know. I don't bet. I'm not allowed.
But he thinks he should be, with restrictions.
I think you should be allowed to bet on your own horse if you're riding in a race. definitely not allowed to back any other runner, which is only common sense. But then again, that's a bit hard to police. But my number one concern is I think jockeys should be allowed to bet if they're not riding at the races or in a race.
This year's Melbourne Cup may have some of the gloss taken off it with the news that last year's winner, Jearn, could miss the big race. Jearn's entry will depend on the handicapper, but if he's given too much weight, the champ will not run.
Enjoying the sunshine only metres from where he rose to championship status last November, Melbourne Cup winner Jearn is still doubtful to start in this year's big race.
A lot will depend on these earlier races, what race he aims at, whether it's the Cup or the Japan Cup. You see, the Melbourne Cup's a handicap, so just judging on if he gets too much weight, he's more than likely to try and get a nomination for the Japan Cup.
Jearn arrived back in Melbourne early this morning after a 4-month spell at Lindsay Park in South Australia.
He actually last time up when he raced, he was actually come back from Japan. He didn't really have a spell, so it's the first time he's had a decent spell with us, and it'll be interesting to see how he, goes first up this time anyway.
The 7-year-old stallion has been in the care of new trainer Peter Hayes since April after winning the Queen Elizabeth Stakes in Sydney.
Pete's been very happy with him over there. He trialled at Balaclava last week, and they were very, impressed with the gallop and that, so he's been going along very well.
The big chestnut resumes this Saturday in the $100,000 Liston Stakes at Sandown, a course he knows only too well, breaking the track record over the same distance in the All Stakes last February.
He'll be favoured in the race just about because he ran near the track record and that there, and I don't know if this race is as strong as when he won last autumn.
And although he has a handy first-up record, he faces some tough opposition.
Pharaoh, Barishnikov. It's going to be a pretty strong field.
Now on Sports Tonight, your chance to get away from the rat race and get into the snow with our Opal Nera competition.
Sports Tonight's heading to the snow, and you could come along for the ride. Opal Nera gives you the chance to win a trip to Thredbo for their Black Lightning weekend from Friday, September the 1st. All you have to do is ring 0055 60621 and answer this simple question. What colour is Opal Nera? The prize is for 2 and all expenses paid. So get to the phone. You could join us live fireside at the snow. Brought to you by Opal Nera, Italy's first black sound booker, and the team that's prepared to be their taste testers. Sports Tonight.
The last time Mike Tyson stepped in the ring with a man named Buster was the last time Tyson lost a fight. Buster Douglas did the damage then. Now it's Buster Mathis, the next contender for Iron Mike. After Hurricane Peter McNeely ran out of puff in 89 seconds, all the talk is focused on Tyson's next opponent. Today, amid much confusion, Mathis was confirmed for a November 4 bout in Las Vegas.
Mike Tyson wants to fight one more fight before he fights for the title. And everybody in the world recognizes and appreciates the fact that this man has not been in the ring.
Meanwhile, the Nevada State Athletic Commission has given itself until Monday to decide whether to hold an investigation into the actions of McNeely's trainer, who of course ended Sunday's fight. And getting back in the ring, aged 45, is Aussie Joe Bugner. The Gold Coast granddad, who twice went all the way with the great Muhammad Ali, will fight champion Vince Chervy in Queensland on September 22. Bugner hasn't fought since 1987, but maintains he's still in good physical shape. Joe says his financial situation is one of the main reasons he'll be lacing on the gloves again. Tennis bad boy Jeff Tarango plans to appeal the record fine he's been given for his Wimbledon blow-up. Tarango's been banned from 2 Grand Slam tournaments and fined another $38,000. He already copped a $21,000 fine for his outburst. If the findings are upheld, the American will probably miss the Australian Open. In Austria, Daniela Batova has created her 7th world record in 3 months. The champion Czech Republic pole vaulter making the height of 4.21 metres at a meet in Linz. Australian Swimming is celebrating a new deal today, signing on with pay TV operator Optus Vision until the year 2001. But the deal raises questions about sports sponsorship. The Dolphins are backed by Telstra.
It's the modern face of swimming. Olympic backstroker Nicole Stevenson willing to take the new plunge. The mindset is a long way from the undervalued 50s. Swimmers thought they weren't recognised. Today's swimmers felt much the same. But results of the recent Pan-Pacific Games rivaled Australian swimming's golden age. And what's different is the money. The sport has secured a lucrative pay-TV deal. Nicole Stevenson on the commentary team.
I think swimming is finally going to get the profile that they deserve, and hopefully it will be up there with the Australians' perception of Aussie rules and rugby league, and hopefully we'll really get some great publicity out of it.
Swimming is hoping the pay-TV injection means a better financial future.
The Sports Commission said some time ago that after 96 they would be re-looking at all the funding and that the sports would be funded on their performances in 96. We obviously are very confident about our performances in 96, so yes, we obviously feel that we'll be getting more funding after 96 based on those performances.
Swimming received another boost today, the world governing body announcing it would look into drug testing. Australia now rivals the US in the pool and aims to be #1 by 2000 if drug use is wiped out. But Nicole Stevenson is sceptical.
FINA have announced this morning that they're going to look into it and you know, they're open to suggestions. So it's a long way from them being open to suggestions and them accepting the program and initiating it. So I guess what it's all...
OK, from the pool to the slopes, here's Jodie Young's snow report.
Thanks, Tim. I'm here today at the presentation for the FIS Continental Cup, just one of the races that's taken place here over the past few days. Now, this race attracts competitors from all over the world, and it's topped off a great week of racing action here in Thredbo. Now, let's take a look at today's conditions for tonight's Papua New Guinea snow report. In Thredbo today, warm temperatures are keeping the cover quite soft, with the best skiing to be had on the higher slopes. All lifts operated. Same story for Perisher Blue, with spring-like snow cover over the resort. 49 lifts open. In Mount Selwyn, a clear day with good skiing on a firm cover softening towards the afternoon. 11 lifts open. More spring-like snow conditions in Charlotte Pass and 5 lifts operating. Moderate winds in Falls Creek today, but good skiing on a cover of rain-affected snow. 18 lifts open. Mount Buller had clear skies with a good cover of snow softening towards the afternoon. All lifts operated. Clear in Mount Hoppin today with a good cover of spring-like snow in most areas. All lifts open. The forecast is for isolated showers, clearing for Friday. Can't see any here with my name on it, but I'm sure they won't mind if I just take one. It's Jodie in Thredbo.
Stay with us on Sports Tonight. After the break, we managed to do what most of the rugby world can't. Stop Jonah Lomu. Russell Fairfax tackles Giant Jonah next.
Burke lost it behind him. Here's Jonah. Look out. Godfrey, see you later. 21 plays 12.
Well, if you've seen what Jonah Lomu does to people who get in his way, you'll probably realise why it's so hard to go one-on-one with the Kiwi rugby crusher. But today, Giant Jonah was finally taken on by a man with plenty of experience, Russell Fairfax.
Tonight, the hunted became the hunter on a personal search and destroy mission for Campese's Invitational 15, vying with Campo as the crowd favourite. New Zealand's biggest ever All Black delivered a trademark performance.
Howard couldn't get in. No one can get in.
The 20-year-old's on-field feats over the last 6 months has had 3 football codes chasing his services.
Oh, actually, I wouldn't fit him on one hand.
To the Kiwis' relief, he stayed loyal.
My loyalties stayed with the NZRFU because, yeah, that's why I didn't sign up with WRC or anything like that. My loyalty was with the NZRFU, and I gave them a fair chance, and they came up with something reasonable and very rewarding for me.
And with his future for the next 4 years now settled, Lomu, normally reserved with media, broke his silence.
Half of them write stories that, you know, they didn't even ask the actual person itself. So, like, for yourself now, you know, you're getting it straight from me. And I'll tell you straight, you know, if you ask me any questions. But these people just go straight out and just write something, you know, just to sell it or something like that.
The Giant All Black stands 100